Are we going to keep that creepy picture up there all the time of what the room should look like?
Yeah, it'll be our.
I mean, it's like a little like it's a haunted house.
Yeah, totally.
I feel like.
And here we go.
Okay.
And here we are
From the
once
haunted
again. I love to start that video just as you're starting to say weird things.
And I think that
much fun.
Sorry, it's because I'm looking at the picture and it's creepy.
Yep, there you go. Hey, remember when we said we were going to keep it tight and only to 15 minutes today? So, hey, what's up, YouTube, Facebook, anybody else that's watching us, wherever you're watching us? We are excited. We have a quick podcast for you today. Today is actually, when we're recording this, it is the day before Thanksgiving, so Thanksgiving Eve.
Yes.
So, as you can imagine, there's a lot going on in all of our lives today, but we thought, hey, let's, instead of canceling, let's just do a really quick, kind of in and out, 15 minutes or less podcast for everybody.
Set your timers.
Set your timers and give us 1 second. I'm going to welcome our recording audience, and then we are going to dive into our podcast. So here we go. Hey, everybody. Thanks so much for checking out this week's episode of the Discipleship Track Podcast. I'm your host, Pastor Rob, joined, as always, by the awesome Patsy Prati. Patsy, say what's up.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Did I notice a little lisp there?
You do. Let's address the elephant in the room, which is my Invisalign.
Oh, yeah.
Brand new.
Got to work on those pearly whites.
Just got it. Not even 24 hours old.
I remember my first
think-
24 hours of Invisalign.
Listen, Facebook, you can just chime in there and let me know if you hear the lisp really bad. I think I'm killing it here with the.
No, you're doing pretty good.
Yeah.
I'm going to make you say a lot of TH words, though, because that's where it always got me.
Because that's what
But
friendship is all
anyway,
about.
yes, let's talk about a tight intro. We are here not just to make fun of Patsy's speech or her Invisalign, but we are here because we believe that God has called us to live a life that is fully devoted to Him. But here's the thing. In order to do that, we got to put in a little bit of work. So we create these podcasts each and every week so that we can grow on the go. So we hope today you're growing with us. Like we were mentioning to our Facebook and YouTube audience, if you're listening to us on a podcast app, today is the day that we're filming this. Today is the day before Thanksgiving. So we just wanted to shoot a quick podcast for you guys just to talk a little bit about Thanksgiving. And again, we had a really great title, but I still don't understand why when I try to type it into Facebook, it's typing it in backwards. It's really weird.
Us.
And I completely forgot about it all week because I only do the Facebook Live for our podcast.
Yep.
So I forgot to fix it this week. So it'll be
good.
another week of a captionless podcast. But that's okay.
That's okay.
So, all right, let's not waste any more time. Let's dive in. It is almost Thanksgiving.
It is.
I'm excited.
It is. We're only hours away.
Hours away.
The sad thing is for me this year is that eating is going to take on a whole new challenge because I got to pop.
Oh, you have no
I got to
idea.
pop the dentures out.
You have no
I got to
idea.
pop the plastic out.
Oh my
and
gosh.
I'm still a beginner. Do you know that yesterday? Sorry, this has nothing to do with being thankful, but I'm in the dentist chair and I was literally like trying to, they're like, okay, now you have to show us that you can do it.
Yeah.
And I started sweating so bad I made them leave the room. I was like, okay, yeah, I got to do this by myself.
Don't look at me.
Sweating. It was like, I'm nervous. It was very nerve wracking. Okay.
Oh
so it
my
is
gosh.
Thanksgiving.
It is
And we
Thanksgiving.
just want to address the Invisalign. We have to, hashtag
You're
Invisalign,
very
we're
self-conscious
ad-free.
about it, but I promise
I
you,
am.
I cannot even
Do
and
you
I
wanna
was
know
too.
why?
I remember I had it for a year, right? So I've walked a little bit in those shoes.
I felt like yours looked better. I feel like a little like I'm Dracula with these
No,
things.
that's
next
what
to my
I'm
teeth,
telling
so
you.
sorry.
You really don't notice it.
If I look, it would have been better if I got it at Halloween for that. But
No.
also, you have to know, when I was a little girl, I had like ridiculous buck teeth, like nobody's business. Went to speech therapy, wore braces for 4 years. It was terrible. So this is like PTSD for me, like post-traumatic. I am going back in time like, are people going to make fun of me again? And of course,
It's not
Pastor
gonna
Rob.
happen. Well, I
stepped
mean,
right
I
up to
will,
the plate.
but it's not because I notice it. It's because I know you're worried about it.
Because you know I'm
Yeah,
stressed.
exactly. So
Okay, so
anyway.
it's all good. So it is the day before Thanksgiving, and do you want to know some Thanksgiving facts? I thought we should obviously let's talk about Thanksgiving and being thankful. And I wanted to tell you, do you know when the first Thanksgiving was? The first one that they say this is what we kind of base it off of. Any idea?
The
Want to
Pilgrims.
guess? It was the Pilgrims, but guess a date. Yeah, let's see how we did it in history class.
No, I'm not going to do this. I give you the heads up. History, math, geography, not my jam. So I'm going to stick to my sweet spots here.
Here it is. October 1621, the Pilgrims had their first harvest. It was originally a harvest festival, and it was to celebrate their first harvest in the New World. So that is what we kind of base it off of. That's what Thanksgiving was all about, because then they would have this harvest festival, and that's when they celebrated this time of thankfulness.
Yep.
It's celebrated on the fourth Thursday. There it is. Did you hear that?
Yeah, I did.
The list. Okay.
No, I didn't really hear it. I was
Fourth
listening. Sorry.
Thursday of November in the United States. Now, do you know originally what the purpose of it was? I gave you a hint about the harvest, but what was the actual purpose of having this festival?
Why don't you tell us?
It was to be thankful to God. So the early settlers here, the Pilgrims came, they were Christians. I'm not going to say that all of them were. I'm sure there was a few that snuck on the boat that didn't believe the same thing, because that's humans, right?
Mm-hmm.
Some of us show up at church and some of us actually are the church, and we want everyone to be the
Wow.
church. We want, well, but
Look
that's
out.
because the church is the believers is what I meant. Not that we're better,
Come
because I'm
on.
not better than anybody.
Wow.
Believe me. Low man on the totem pole. But they came and they wanted to be able to worship God openly, because they were being persecuted where they came from and back in England, and they wanted to be able to worship God openly. So they were actually thankful to God. So what I want to hit in the few minutes that we have left is Thanksgiving. The original Thanksgiving was being thankful to God. So that's an action birthed out of an attitude. But today, don't you feel like Thanksgiving is either one or the other? It's either an attitude or an action.
Yeah, I can see what you're saying.
Okay.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think you're right. And it's funny. I think in our kind of culture today, we tend to be rather either or in our approaches to things, like in all things.
Yep.
Like you're either left or right.
Right,
you're
right,
either
right.
this or that.
Right.
You're
You
either
either
happy or
support
sad.
this or
you
you
know what
don't.
I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
there's no middle ground.
you know, so I think you're right. I think to an extent we have kind of created Thanksgiving into this, like, you're either living a life of gratitude,
Right.
or you're really thankful for the day, whatever
Right.
it may be.
Or
you
you hear lots of people, because I love you out there, those people that are like, oh, I'm so thankful, and they put up posts and they say all these great things, they're thankful, but there's not a single action to back that up. I think the cool thing about Thanksgiving is it's a day to come together where you're supposed to, reset for the year and blend all those things together. We wait for New Year's for that, and I think it should start at Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
This is your day to stop and say, I'm thankful, and take it one step further. I'm thankful for, and I'm thankful to. So if I want to thank you for something, I can't just go around the world saying, oh, I'm so thankful to Rob, but that I never show it thankfulness to you. I think that all those things have to be happening at the same time. I think that's the point of Thanksgiving.
Sure.
I get troubled, not annoyed, not critical, but a little troubled when I hear people say, you should just be grateful. You should be thankful. Because I feel like that is a half of a sentence.
Mm-hmm.
Because don't you have to be thankful to somebody?
Yeah, it's really cool. When I went to Africa a few years ago, I was listening to a sermon, and it's funny, like, it was literally had to be 4 or 5 years ago now.
Mm-hmm.
And I was listening to a sermon from somebody. Long story short, he was a pastor in Michigan, but he was preaching at a church in Africa. And I was listening to him, and he said that I'm gonna mix up the specifics, but he said, "Thank you should be the second word."
Ooh.
In your gratitude. He said you should be sure that you're grateful, but grateful to God.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, yes,
Absolutely.
you're grateful for your spouse, you're grateful for your job, you're grateful for your house, whatever it may be, but you need to be grateful to God for that house.
Yeah.
Like that, thank you for my spouse, thank you for my job, needs to be, God, thank you for this.
Yeah,
Like, I know you've given this to me.
So if we're going to grow our community, disciples of Jesus Christ, let's jump right in, because I have to, because of what you just said. Maybe we can challenge you tomorrow when you have your quiet time with the Lord, when you pray to him, could you do just a prayer of thankfulness? Thank him for specific things. Thank him for who he is, and don't ask for a single thing. Is that a good challenge?
It's a very good challenge. It's a hard challenge.
Unless you're going to see family members that you don't like, then you should ask for wisdom and
Yeah,
a muzzle for your mouth and whatever else.
Yeah.
The grace to get through
That's
the difficult dinner.
That's right.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
not everybody's thankful for their Thanksgiving. Maybe they're going to be meeting with hard people, right? You get
Yes.
together with family. So what's a helpful hint for our wannabe disciples out there? How do you celebrate Thanksgiving when you're not thankful for everyone who's going to be at the table?
Look at different things. I think that's what, like, for real, that's what I would say.
Okay.
Like, I think that's hard because I think a lot of people are like, oh, but if you only knew my story, you'd have a hard time being thankful. And you know what? I say that too. Like, I'll be honest, my wife kicks me in the bum a lot with that because
I'm like looking at his ankle thinking, can I kick him now?
No, totally. Because I tend to be a little more on the pessimist side.
Okay.
Right? Where my wife is way more optimistic with things.
She is. Jen is super optimistic.
Like, to the point where it drives me crazy. But she challenges me with that a lot of like, yeah, this piece of your circumstance might be difficult, but don't let that be the lens at which you look at everything else in your life through. So if you're struggling to be like, okay, I have a great day to be thankful with my family because my family is X, Y, and Z, then I think maybe you're not looking at the right things.
Right. You got it. There's always something to be thankful for when you change your focus. That's what I think. And that's not being like, crazy, like, oh, there's always a silver lining, because sometimes things are really hard.
Yeah.
Sometimes families are really difficult. And when it starts with, if you only knew my story, you have to remember everybody has that. Everybody has a story. Everybody has something.
That's right.
So why not, if you want to grow as a person in your faith in God, why not say today, I'm going to be the person that encourages others to be thankful. Like, we've all got the story, we've all got the hard thing, but I'm going to make sure that everyone at that table, and even if I don't like them, they're going to be grateful that I was there.
That's right.
Right? So
Absolutely.
you can do that. You know, so that means like don't fight with whoever your family member is.
Yeah.
And they'll be thankful that you were quiet.
Yes,
Eat more.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yep.
So
Okay.
how
We're
about
running
this?
out of time.
No, but I want to give you a quick question.
Okay.
And this could be something that can help people.
Yep.
What are some things, like, just think, shoot fast, things that you forget to thank God for?
That I have problems to complain about.
Oh, okay. That's a good one.
I'll share a quick story, right? And it'll be really quick. I shared this once when I was preaching. A few years ago, our refrigerator died.
Ooh.
And my wife and I were like, well, we don't have money for a new fridge, so guess we're going to have to figure
Warm
something
milk,
out.
kids.
Yeah, exactly. So somebody had found out that our fridge died, and they had an old one in their garage that they're like, here, you can have this for free. And we're like, okay, like, cool, thanks. So we get the fridge and we bring it home, and it's like way smaller than our old fridge. So I'm trying to put all the food away in the new fridge, and it doesn't fit. And I got so angry because, man, I can't believe this. I wish I had the money to buy a new fridge. This one's too small. I didn't want a hand-me-down fridge. I should be able to get a new fridge. And in all of that, I felt like in the kind of quietness of my heart, God said, here's a thought. Why can't you be so grateful to me that you have enough food that it can't fit in a fridge?
Yeah.
I was like,
I know.
you know, like there was one of those.
Hate when he does that.
You know? But yeah, I think. What was the question again?
No, just things that you forget to thank God for.
I think you forget to, like, when you only focus on those negative things, you forget, like, wow, look at this crazy blessing that I have that may even be causing what I feel like is a negative thing.
I had that moment the other day. I was driving to work, and I drive on the New York State Thruway. Always, you never know what you're going to get. It's like crazy driving, whatever, all the traffic heading towards the Cuomo Bridge and getting into the city. All that to say this, I was so frustrated trying to leave my house, and I forgot something, and I had to go back inside, and it delayed me a couple of minutes, and I would have been in a horrific car accident because it was right at my exit. And of course I prayed for the people, and it was one of those accidents where life altering, somebody's life changed drastically. Wow. And I saw it before the police, actually as the first policeman was getting there, but being thankful to God, going, man, I was so mad when I was trying to get out of the house because I was running late. And rather than stopping and saying, Lord, are you delaying me for a reason? Yeah. Not that, listen, and I'm not giving everyone an excuse for, like, if you're chronically late, like, work on that. Don't use that as God's making me late for a reason.
That's right.
But in that moment, there was something to be thankful for.
Yeah.
So other things that I think that we forget to thank God for, that lately I've been thanking God for so much, is like the sunrise, the sunset.
Yeah, you're big on the sunrise and sunsets.
I love
this year.
it because we studied
post
Job
about that
as
a
a
lot.
church.
Yep.
We studied about Job, and I had a moment a year ago where I was leaving work, hard day, working in a doctor's office, just had a tough day. And the sunset was so beautiful that day. And I realized that I was so caught up in everything that I was missing out on that. And I thought, like, God, you still paint the sky just in case I choose to notice it.
That's cool.
And now I try to be thankful for it every single day and watch but something else I never thank God for? The air that I breathe. There's so much that the Lord does, guys, all day long that we never stop to say, hey, thank you.
Yeah.
And I'm not even making fun. Like, thank you for gravity. Thank you that the trees still bear fruit.
Yeah.
Thank you that there are still farmers that are sticking it out and keeping their farms going so that we can eat and put stuff in our refrigerator. There's so much to be thankful for if you stop and think about it. That's where I was going.
And I think, like, if you ever struggle to have an attitude of thankfulness to God, I think what you need to realize is we need to start small. And I think some of those things are not really small, like air and gravity and all those things. But but like the small things that we take for granted.
Right.
And it's amazing how if you recognize those things over and over again, it'll just shift your perspective of what you're looking at.
And it starts to grow from there. You start to go crazy growing from there. I wanted to put out a challenge to everybody that obviously Thanksgiving's here, and that means that the New Year is right around the corner.
Yep.
And we love to make our New Year's resolutions or our goals. But I'm going to say, like, why not start it now? Start it on Thanksgiving and make a decision to be thankful from this point forward for the things that you have.
right.
And learning, it's great if you have an attitude of thankfulness, but make sure if the thought pops in your head, like, I'm thankful for, that you back it up with an action.
That's right.
You know,
That's
like,
really
I'm
good.
thankful for you, Rob. So I'm going to tell the whole world
Aw.
that I really am. You're
I'm
such
thankful
a
for you.
sweet, precious friend to me.
Oh.
And I got to tell you, I'm really thankful. Rob really painted a grim picture of the Invisalign. I was
There goes
so
that
ready for it.
pessimistic thing I was
I
just
know.
talking about before.
I was so ready for it that I was like, oh, it's actually not that bad.
Yeah,
I thought
see,
it was
there
going to be
you
worse.
go.
So I'm thankful that you did that.
Oh, well, you're welcome.
And I already told you that, so you know
You're
it's
welcome.
legit. That's true.
No, I was thinking about the podcast today too, and just us and how thankful I am that we get to do this. Like,
Yeah.
it's just really awesome. We're coming up on this is our 48th episode. I just checked before,
my
so we're
gosh.
almost on our 50th.
We're going to be 50.
I know.
Wow.
Don't I look so good
What are
for
we going
50?
to do?
But I just was like really grateful that you and I get to do this week in and week out.
Mhm.
Like it was a crazy idea that we kind of threw
I
out
know.
one day when we were hanging out.
Like
and
literally minutes before we started,
Yeah.
you're like, let's just do this.
Yeah, and we're like, let's give it a shot, and we did, and here we are, 50 episodes later, and
Mhm.
about 3,000 downloads and all that kind of
So
stuff.
cool.
So
Thanks,
it's
you
pretty
guys.
exciting. So I'm thankful we get to do this, and I
Mhm.
hope we get to do it for another 150 episodes.
I
You
hope
know, I
God
don't want to
allows
stop.
us. Absolutely.
So
Hey, look up maybe this Thanksgiving too. You guys can look up like 10 verses that just mention thankfulness. See if that changes
there's
your
tons
life.
in there. So
Go to your concordance
no
in the
problem
back of your
finding them.
Bible. Look up the word thank
Yep.
you and just read 10 verses. Do that
That's
for
right.
Thanksgiving.
Cool. Well, I think that's all the time we have for today. So let's wrap it up. And we hope you guys have an amazing Thanksgiving and everything that's around that. We're praying for everybody. And again, if you would do us a favor, if you are being blessed by the podcast, if you're thankful for the podcast, help us spread the word so that we can continue to grow the community.
And if you're
here.
not,
If you're not,
help
do
us
it
out.
anyway. But help us spread the word so that we can grow the community. So you can do that by subscribing to our channels, by sharing the videos on your social media, whatever it may be. And as always, feel free to reach out to us at discipleshiptrack@powerhousecc.org. We'd love to connect with you. But until next time, we hope you have an amazing day, and we will see you next week on the Discipleship Track podcast.
Bye, guys.